The leather made a sound that didn't belong in a child's world. Sharp, cruel, final. In that house of gold and silence, one sound was enough to wake the ghosts. The Whitmore mansion stood on a hill like it was afraid to be touched. Glass walls, marble floors, and chandeliers that never flickered. A place built to keep life out and grief in. Inside, 8-year-old Lily Whitmore sat at a dining table far too large for her small frame. Her hands trembled around a porcelain teacup. She couldn't see it. Couldn't see the steam, the color, or the gold rim that gleamed under the morning sun. She only felt the warmth. A soft tremor ran through her hand. The cup tipped. The sound of shattering porcelain ripped through the silence. Across the room, the tutor froze, then scowled. "Do you have any idea what that rug costs?" Lily flinched at the tone. "I'm sorry," she whispered. "Sorry doesn't fix a $10,000 mistake," he barked. He was new, a man who believed blind children were meant to obey, not learn. He grabbed the belt that hung from his waist and snapped it once in the air, a sound Lily knew by instinct. Danger. The butler looked away. The maid froze mid-step. The housekeeper's lips parted, but no words came. And in the far corner, Rosa Mendoza, new maid, new uniform, new life, dropped her cleaning cloth, heart pounding. She'd been in the house less than 3 days. Enough to learn that this was a place where fear wore perfume and rules spoke louder than conscience. She'd also learned to stay silent. But that sound, that belt, cut through her silence like lightning through fog. Lily's small hands came up, palms open, blind eyes wide with terror. "Please, I didn't mean—" The tutor's voice hissed. "Maybe you'll learn what careful means now." He raised the belt. Then, a voice, cold, deep, final. "Put that down." The belt froze midair. Every person in that gleaming room turned to the doorway. Marcus Whitmore. The billionaire who built half of Silicon Valley's cloud empire stood there in a dark, tailored suit, his jaw carved in stone. A man who commanded boardrooms with silence and froze hearts with a stare. The tutor stammered, "Sir, she spilled the tea." Marcus stepped forward. "You touch my daughter again, and you'll never work in this city." The belt dropped to the floor. Rosa heard it hit the marble, the sound of leather meeting money's mercy. "Get out," Marcus said, voice even lower now. "You're fired." The man scrambled away. The house fell still again. Rosa exhaled shakily, clutching her cleaning rag to her chest. For a moment, she thought, maybe this father, this cold-eyed man, had stepped in out of love, but then she saw him kneel beside the trembling girl. He didn't comfort her. He didn't hug her. He simply took a napkin, dabbed her shaking fingers, and said softly, "You have to be more careful, Lily. You could get hurt." Lily nodded. Her tiny voice, "Yes, Daddy." Marcus stood, adjusted his cufflinks, and walked out without another word. The room went back to its unnatural silence, but something had changed. Rosa knelt to gather the broken porcelain. Her hands brushed against Lily's. The girl flinched at first, then relaxed at the warmth. "I'm sorry," Lily murmured again. "For what?" Rosa asked gently. "For making everyone upset. They say I ruin things." Rosa swallowed hard. "You didn't ruin anything, Mija. Accidents happen." Lily tilted her head, curious at the sound of that accent, a voice that didn't sound afraid to speak. "Where are you from?" she asked. "Far away," Rosa whispered, "but maybe close enough to understand you." For the first time that morning, the little girl smiled, faintly like sunlight through clouds. When Rosa returned to her small attic room that night, she couldn't sleep. She stared at the cracked ceiling and heard that belt again, the whistle in the air, the sound before the strike. She realized something chilling. Marcus Whitmore had saved his daughter's body, but not her soul. He'd stopped one kind of harm, but another kind still lived in every corner of that house, the kind that came wrapped in silence, routine, and fear. And Rosa, the maid who came to clean floors, lay awake knowing she'd seen something no one else dared to see. Not just a child without sight, but a house that had forgotten how to see. That night she promised herself, no matter the risk, no matter the rules, she would find a way to bring light into that house again, even if it cost her everything. Every house has its language. In this one the walls spoke in rules, and silence was the loudest sound of all. Rosa Mendoza woke to the soft hum of the estate before sunrise. The Whitmore mansion didn't wake up the way normal homes did. No laughter, no clatter of breakfast dishes, no sleepy chatter drifting down hallways. Here, the day began with polished shoes on marble floors and hushed voices reciting instructions. Mrs. Patricia Chen, the head housekeeper, moved like a general inspecting her troops. Uniforms pressed, no jewelry. Address the family as Sir and Miss. Never speak unless spoken to. Never touch Miss Lily without permission. And for heaven's sake, don't move furniture. She memorizes every placement. Rosa nodded silently, her hands folded. The other maids kept their eyes lowered, expressions carved from obedience. It wasn't a home, it was choreography. By 7, the house gleamed, every surface shining, every cushion aligned by invisible measurements. And at 7:30, Lily entered the breakfast room, led by the nurse dressed in white lace that belonged to photo albums, not playgrounds. Her shoes made the faintest sound, the careful rhythm of someone afraid to step wrong. "Good morning, Miss Lily," Patricia said with that brittle cheerfulness adults used when they didn't mean it. "Good morning," Lily whispered. Rosa was dusting the chandelier base when she saw it, the way the little girl tilted her head, listening for permission before she moved. Her hand brushed the back of a chair, testing the world like it might shatter. Everything in that house was designed to prevent risk. But Rosa could already see the damage that kind of safety caused, the kind that made a child smaller, quieter, invisible. When breakfast ended, Rosa followed Patricia to the hallway. "The child has her lessons at 9, Patricia explained briskly. "Math, reading, mobility, all supervised. Afterward, quiet time. No distractions." "Does she play?" Rosa asked carefully. Patricia blinked as if the word itself didn't belong here. "Play? No. Miss Lily prefers to listen to audiobooks. Children like her need calm." Children like her. The phrase stuck like a splinter. Later that morning, Rosa carried fresh linens down the corridor outside Lily's room. From inside, she heard the tutor's slow, clipped voice. "Again, Miss Whitmore. Identify the sound." A recording clicked. Birds chirping. "Mockingbird," Lily said. "Incorrect, that's a sparrow. Focus." Rosa frowned. The tone was wrong, cold, mechanical. He wasn't teaching, he was testing for failure. The lesson ended. Silence. Then a faint sound. Click, click. Rosa paused. There it was again, like a tiny echo. She peeked through the cracked door. Lily stood near the window, eyes clouded, head slightly turned. Her tongue made soft, clicking sounds. Then she smiled faintly and took a small step forward, stopping just before the chair she'd been heading toward. Her hand reached out, found it perfectly. Rosa's heart jumped. The girl was seeing through sound. But when the nurse returned, Lily went back to stillness, folding her hands obediently in her lap. Rosa closed the door quietly, her mind racing. She'd seen this before. Years ago, her cousin Miguel in their Guatemalan village. Blind from birth, he used clicks to know where walls were, trees, even running chickens. He'd never been afraid to fall. And here was Lily, born into billions, taught to be afraid of her own footsteps. At lunch, Rosa carried trays through the sunroom and overheard the staff gossip. "Poor girl," one said softly. "Such a shame. With all that money, you'd think the doctors could fix her." "Mr. Whitmore tried," another whispered. "Flew her everywhere, but nothing worked. Now he just wants peace. No noise, no risks, no problems." Rosa set the tray down a little too hard. She doesn't need fixing, she said quietly. She needs living. The maids stared, then looked away. No one talked back to Patricia's rules. But Rosa wasn't from their world. She didn't understand silence as survival. Not yet. That evening, Rosa returned Lily's freshly laundered cardigan to her room. The girl sat by the window again, headphones on, an audiobook playing. Something about butterflies. But Lily wasn't listening. She was tapping her fingers on the armrest, keeping rhythm with some melody only she could hear. Rosa hesitated, then said softly, "That's a pretty tune." Lily turned her face toward the voice. "You can hear it too?" Rosa smiled. "A little." Lily tilted her head. "You're new. You don't walk like the others." Rosa blinked. "What do you mean?" "Their shoes are stiff and squeak. Yours are soft, like fabric. You don't drag your feet when you clean. You hum sometimes." Rosa felt her throat tighten. The child had memorized her presence, by sound alone. "You're very observant, Miss Lily." "They tell me that's not good," Lily said quietly. "They say I shouldn't listen to everything. It's rude." Rosa crouched beside her. "Listening isn't rude, Carino. It's powerful." Lily's cloudy eyes lifted slightly, searching for the warmth in Rosa's voice. "Then why does everyone whisper around me?" Rosa hesitated. "Maybe because they don't know what to say. Or because they're afraid." Rosa looked at her. Really looked. The girl wasn't fragile. She was awake in a world that treated her like she was asleep. "That, too," Rosa admitted softly. "Sometimes people whisper when they're afraid of being wrong." Lily smiled a little sadly. "Then maybe I should start talking louder." Rosa laughed quietly. "Maybe you should." That night, Rosa wiped down the marble counters in the servants' kitchen. Outside, the mansion gleamed under the moonlight. Perfect, lifeless. She remembered Miguel again, barefoot in dirt, laughing as he chased a ball he couldn't see. Maybe poverty had its own cages, but this kind of wealth built invisible ones. She looked toward the staircase leading to Lily's floor and whispered, "If no one else will teach you how to see, little one, I will." In that house of rules and whispers, one woman decided to break the first rule. She started to care. The rain came down in soft curtains that morning, tapping against the mansion's glass walls like a rhythm only one person truly heard. Rosa moved quietly through the hall, polishing picture frames that all looked the same. Expensive, empty, cold. In the sunroom, Lily sat with her chin propped in her hands, her head tilted, slightly. She was listening again. Rosa could tell. Every few seconds the girl would turn her head, as if mapping the sound of raindrops falling on different panes. Rosa stepped closer. "What are you hearing today, Miss Lily?" Lily smiled faintly. "Everything." Rosa knelt beside her chair. "Tell me." "The gardener's boots outside," Lily said. "He's moving slower, probably muddy. Mrs. Chen's heels, right hall, fifth tile squeaks. The clock in the study. It's 1 minute behind the kitchen clock. Oh, and you're wearing the same earrings as yesterday." Rosa froze, touched her earlobe. "How could you know that?" "They click when you move your head." A laugh escaped Rosa's lips before she could stop it. "You notice everything." Lily straightened, proud. "I have to. It's how I know what kind of day it is." Rosa studied her face. The child's eyes might not have seen, but they spoke, shifting subtly when she focused, widening when curious. Rosa saw intelligence burning behind the clouded gray. "Do you do this every day?" she asked. Lily nodded. "They say I'm distracted when I listen too much. But I'm not distracted. I'm learning." "What do you learn?" Lily's voice softened. "People sound different when they lie." Rosa blinked. "What do you mean?" "When people lie, they breathe faster. They touch their face. Sometimes they even smell different. Fear smells like metal. Sadness smells like rain." Rosa sat back slowly. "Who told you that?" No one. I just know." The girl's tone was matter-of-fact, not boastful. She wasn't showing off. She was surviving. Later, Rosa told Patricia what she'd seen. "She's brilliant," she said. "She knows the house by sound." Patricia frowned. "She's a child, Rosa. Don't fill her head with nonsense. Curiosity confuses her. Routine keeps her safe." Safe from what? From disappointment, from false hope. Rosa's lips pressed together. There was no arguing with someone who'd turned fear into a virtue. That afternoon, Rosa decided to test something. She set a small silver spoon on the table in front of Lily without saying a word. "What's that?" Lily asked instantly. "You tell me." Lily reached forward, stopped just short of touching it, and clicked her tongue twice. "Metal. Light. Hollow handle. Spoon." Rosa grinned. "Perfect." Lily's smile bloomed like something that hadn't been used in years. "Can we try more?" Rosa fetched a few objects from the kitchen. A porcelain cup, a folded napkin, a small wooden bowl. Lily listened, described each one with startling precision. "The cup is wide, the napkin swallows sound. The bowl feels warm. Wood holds heat longer." Rosa clapped her hands softly. "You're a natural scientist, Miss Lily." Lily tilted her head. "Is that a real job?" "It can be, if you want it to." Lily thought for a long moment. "Then I'd like that." A quiet joy settled over them. Small, fragile, but real. From the doorway, Patricia's voice cut through the peace. "What are you doing?" Rosa stood quickly. "A small exercise, ma'am. This isn't playtime," Patricia snapped. "Mr. Whitmore pays for structure, not experiments. Do not overstep your duties again." "Yes, ma'am." Lily's smile faded. The room felt colder. Patricia left, the echo of her heels trailing judgment down the corridor. Rosa exhaled, lowered her voice. "We'll keep this between us, yes?" Lily nodded quickly. "A secret." That evening, Rosa cleaned the main hall long after everyone else had gone to bed. She thought about the child upstairs, whispering her clicks in the dark, teaching herself to see through sound. When Rosa walked past Lily's door, she paused. The faintest sounds drifted out. Click, pause, rhythmic, patient. And then a whisper. 3 steps, chair, wall. Rosa smiled. The next morning, Rosa brought a small wooden box to the sunroom. Inside were pebbles, cloth, glass beads, and a tiny bell. "We're going to play a game," she said. Lily leaned forward eagerly. "What kind of game?" "One where you tell me what the world sounds like." They spent an hour together. Lily listened to each sound, every texture, every echo, and described them in perfect detail. When Rosa packed up the box, Lily reached out and touched her wrist. "Why do you help me?" Rosa hesitated. "Because you remind me of someone I love." "Who?" "My cousin. He's blind too, but he's never been afraid to live." Lily's face turned thoughtful. "Do you think I'm afraid?" Rosa met her gaze, unflinching. "No, sweetheart. I think everyone around you is." The child's lips parted slightly like she'd never heard something so simple and true. That night, Rosa wrote in her notebook, "She doesn't need saving. She needs space, and someone to believe she can walk through it." Downstairs, Patricia reminded the staff that Mr. Whitmore would return the next morning. "Everything must be perfect," she said. But Rosa wasn't thinking about perfection anymore. She was thinking about the sound of the rain and how it only sang when it hit something that could listen. The mansion smelled faintly of lemon polish and money, that cold, metallic kind of clean that never felt alive. Rosa was dusting the corridor outside Lily's room when she heard it again. The gentle clicking sound. Lily's voice, soft and rhythmic. 3 steps, wall, chair, corner. Rosa peered through the cracked door. The girl was standing barefoot, holding her cane like it was a secret, her small head tilted, tongue clicking in measured intervals. She took 2 slow steps forward, turned right, and stopped before the edge of her bed. Perfect precision. Rosa whispered, "You're mapping it." Lily startled, then smiled. "I heard your breath before you spoke. You're amazing, you know that?" "I'm just practicing." "Practicing what?" "Listening." Rosa stepped inside, closing the door quietly behind her. "May I join your practice?" Lily's grin widened. "If you don't tell Mrs. Chen." "Cross my heart." Rosa picked up a spoon from the dresser, set it on the floor, and asked, "Where is it?" Lily tilted her head, clicked twice, and pointed. "By the carpet fringe, left side." Rosa laughed under her breath. "You're faster than my eyes." Lily giggled. That sounds so rare it felt like breaking a spell. "Can we play again?" And just like that, it stopped being a mansion for a moment. It became a classroom of sound and courage. Rosa introduced textures next: glass, wood, fabric. Lily touched, listened, described them with astonishing clarity. Rosa taught her to drop a coin and measure how far it rolled by pitch. They experimented with cups of different shapes, discovering that sound bent differently through porcelain than metal. Every discovery brought Lily a small burst of pride, the kind of pride that heals invisible wounds. "You're teaching me things nobody else does," Lily said one afternoon. "They just want to keep you safe," Rosa replied. "Safe feels like being locked up," Lily murmured. Rosa felt that sentence like a stone in her chest. Days passed. Their secret lessons grew bolder. When Lily walked alone to the window for the first time, Rosa nearly cried. But one day, Patricia Chen walked in without knocking. "What's going on here?" Rosa stood immediately. "Just helping Miss Lily." "I see that," Patricia interrupted sharply, her gaze narrowing on the small cushion obstacle Rosa had placed on the floor. "Are you trying to make her fall?" "Of course not. She's learning to navigate." Patricia's voice was sharp enough to cut glass. "You are a maid, not a therapist. Mr. Whitmore pays experts to handle his daughter's needs. Do you think you know better than them?" Rosa's cheeks burned. "No, ma'am. But I see what she can do. She's teaching herself to—" "Enough." Patricia pointed to the door. "If you value this job, you will never do this again." Lily's face had gone pale. She said nothing, just folded her hands the way she always did when she was scared. After Patricia left, Rosa knelt beside her. "I'm sorry, little one." Lily shook her head. "Don't be. She doesn't understand." Rosa brushed a strand of hair from Lily's face. "Do you want me to stop?" "No," Lily said quietly. "Please don't." That night, Rosa couldn't sleep. She sat by the window in her small servants' quarters, the city lights glowing faintly in the distance. She remembered her cousin Miguel again, running barefoot through the village streets, laughing as he chased a bouncing ball by sound. No one ever told him he couldn't. Maybe the difference wasn't blindness. Maybe it was belief. The next morning, Rosa returned to Lily's room early. "Ready for lesson 2?" Lily nodded eagerly. This time, Rosa added sound. She played soft music from her phone and asked Lily to find where it came from by echo. The girl moved slowly, tilting her head, using her tongue clicks between notes. She found it perfectly. "See?" Rosa said. "You can find the world if you listen to it." Lily's smile was brighter than the morning sun through the curtains. "You sound proud." "I am." "Then I'll keep listening." Neither of them noticed Patricia standing at the end of the hall, watching. When Rosa came downstairs later that day, Patricia was waiting. "Mr. Whitmore returns tomorrow. I'll be speaking to him about your activities." Rosa's stomach dropped. "Please don't. She's not in danger." "You think this is about danger?" Patricia snapped. "This is about control. This is a professional household, not your village. You were hired to clean, not to interfere." Rosa swallowed her anger, nodded, and turned away before the tears came. As she climbed the stairs, she whispered under her breath, "Then I'll clean what you can't see, the fear out of this child's heart." That night, she slipped a note into her notebook beside her bed. "She's not the one who's blind here." Upstairs, in her room, Lily practiced her clicks in secret, counting steps, tracing sound, smiling in the dark. And Rosa knew she couldn't stop now. The morning sun poured through the tall glass windows, painting the marble floors with light. Rosa tied her apron tighter, her pulse steady but her heart in quiet rebellion. She'd decided. If this house wanted silence, she'd teach life to speak. She waited until Patricia left for a delivery inspection and the nurse was busy with phone calls. Then she found Lily in the sitting room, dressed in her pale blue dress, her hands folded neatly in her lap. "Want to go outside?" Rosa asked. Lily's head turned toward her voice, surprise flickering across her face. "Outside? I'm not supposed to." "I'll be with you. We'll stay on the path." The girl hesitated, then nodded. "All right." Rosa opened the door to the back garden. Sunlight and birdsong filled the air, the sounds of a world Lily knew only through imagination. The maid guided her down the first step, then stopped. "Let's try something," Rosa said softly. "You're going to walk to the fountain. It's 12 steps ahead. The ground is stone, smooth and even. Rose bushes on both sides, 4 feet back. I'll stay right here." Lily froze. "Without holding your hand?" "Yes, sweetheart, just your clicks and your ears." The child took a deep breath. Her tongue made a small, sharp sound. Click, pause, click. She tilted her head, then took a step. Another. The rhythm of her shoes met the rhythm of the garden. Rose didn't move. Lily's chin lifted slightly, her steps becoming surer. The air changed, confidence mixing with morning breeze. She reached out and touched the cool marble edge of the fountain. Her face broke into a smile that could have melted stone. "I did it." Rosa swallowed the lump in her throat. "You did?" Lily leaned over, running her hands along the smooth edge, laughing as droplets of water splashed against her fingers. "It sounds different when it hits my hands," she said. "Like music." "Yes," Rosa whispered. "Like freedom." They stood there for a few seconds, a maid and a child, 2 souls who didn't belong to the same world but understood each other perfectly. Then a voice shattered it. "Miss Mendoza." Rosa turned. Marcus Whitmore stood at the archway, the sunlight behind him like a spotlight on judgment. His face was unreadable, his tone calm but dangerous. "In my study," he said. Rosa's breath caught. "Sir, she—" "Now." Lily reached for Rosa's hand, but Marcus shook his head. "Patricia will take her." The housekeeper, appearing as if conjured by command, stepped forward and led Lily inside. The girl looked back once, her cloudy eyes filled with confusion. Inside the study, the air felt colder. Books lined the walls, untouched trophies of intellect. Marcus stood behind his desk, every inch the powerful man the world saw. Except now, anger cracked the veneer. "Would you like to explain why my daughter was wandering alone?" he asked quietly. "She wasn't wandering. She was learning." "Learning?" He let out a sharp breath. "You defied explicit instructions about her safety." "With respect, sir, she wasn't unsafe. She was alive." His eyes hardened. "Alive? If she'd fallen?" "She didn't." Rosa's voice rose before she could stop it. "Because she knows where to place her feet. Because she's teaching herself to hear the world." "This isn't a village game, Miss Mendoza," Marcus snapped. "My daughter's condition is permanent. She needs structure, not experiments." Rosa stepped forward. "Your daughter is teaching herself echolocation. She hears sound the way you and I see light. She's extraordinary, sir, and you—" "Careful," he warned. "You're the one who's blind," she finished. The words hung between them like thunder. Marcus's jaw clenched. "You forget. Your place." "I know my place," Rosa said quietly. "It's beside a little girl who needs someone to believe in her." He slammed his hand on the desk. "Enough. You're dismissed. Pack your things." She stared at him, feeling the weight of 15 years of obedience in every fiber of her body. And for the first time, she didn't bow. "You can fire me," she said, her voice trembling but firm. "But you can't unteach her what she just learned." Rosa turned, walked to the door, and stopped. "She doesn't need more walls, Mr. Whitmore. She needs space to walk." Then she left, closing the door behind her. Marcus stood alone in the silence that followed, staring at his reflection in the glass. Outside, Rosa went to her small room and began folding her clothes into the worn suitcase that had carried every piece of her life. She packed slowly, her mind replaying Lily's laugh by the fountain. In the distance, she could still hear it, the sound of joy echoing through the courtyard like a song meant for someone who refused to listen. Marcus Whitmore's study was all dark wood and quiet thunder. The walls held degrees, portraits, awards, proof that he'd conquered everything except his own house. Rosa stood at the center of the room, hands clasped in front of her, heart beating hard enough to echo. He didn't look up at first. He was writing something, the deliberate scratch of a pen that sounded too calm to be harmless. Then he set it down. "Sit." Rosa remained standing. Marcus lifted his gaze, gray eyes hard as steel. "You disobeyed direct instructions." "I taught your daughter how to walk," she said softly. "You taught her to risk her life," he corrected. "If she had fallen, she could have broken a bone, hit her head." "She didn't fall." He stood, voice sharpening. "That isn't the point." Rosa took a slow breath. "No, sir. The point is that she's never allowed to try. You built this house to keep her safe, but it feels more like a cage." His jaw flexed. "You think I don't know what's best for my child?" "I think you know what's safest," Rosa replied, steady. "But that's not the same thing." Marcus turned away, pacing. "You don't understand. I've consulted the best specialists in the country. Every one of them said she'll never see. I've accepted that. I'm doing what I can to make her comfortable." "She isn't comfortable," Rosa said. "She's lonely. She's capable, but you've made her believe she's fragile." "Because she is fragile," he snapped. "She's a blind 8-year-old girl." "She's a child who hears the world better than you ever will," Rosa said quietly. That made him stop. His back stiffened, but his voice dropped low. "Watch your tone." "I'm sorry, sir," she said. "But I watched her reach a fountain by herself today. Not by luck, by skill. She knew where she was every step of the way. Do you know what that means?" He said nothing. "It means she's teaching herself echolocation. She's learning to see with her ears. She's extraordinary, Mr. Whitmore, but you're too busy protecting her to notice." He exhaled through his nose, slow and heavy. "Do you have children, Miss Mendoza?" Rosa hesitated. "No." "Then you have no idea what fear feels like when you've already lost the love of your life," he said, voice rough now, shaking with something deeper. "My wife died begging me to keep Lily safe. I watched her slip away while our baby lay in an incubator with tubes and wires. Do you think I can just let my daughter wander around alone after that?" Rosa's throat tightened, but she didn't look away. "You promised your wife you'd keep Lily safe, but safety isn't life, and love isn't control." Marcus's voice broke. "You think it's that easy? You think I want to make her feel trapped? I think you're afraid that if you stop controlling everything, you'll lose her too." He looked at her then, really looked, as if he'd just realized she wasn't afraid of him. "She's blind, Miss Mendoza," he said finally. "That's not going to change." "I know," Rosa said softly, "but blindness doesn't mean helplessness. My cousin Miguel is blind. He climbs trees, teaches, lives. The difference isn't his eyes, sir. It's that nobody ever told him he couldn't." Marcus's fists unclenched. For a second, something human flickered behind his eyes. Confusion, sorrow, guilt. Then the steel came back. "You're fired," he said. Rosa blinked. "Sir, I won't argue this further. You've crossed the line. Pack your belongings and leave my property tonight." Her heart sank, but her voice stayed calm. "Fine. But before I go, I'll say one thing." He waited. Your daughter hears sadness in your footsteps, she said. She told me. She can tell when you're hurting. You've kept her safe from the world, but not from that. Marcus flinched, but he didn't speak. She loves you, Rosa whispered. But love needs room to breathe. She turned to the door. Goodbye, Mr. Whitmore. He didn't stop her. When Rosa returned to her room, Patricia was already there, holding an envelope. Your final pay, she said coldly. Mr. Whitmore expects you gone by nightfall. Rosa nodded, took it quietly. She packed her small suitcase, 3 dresses, 2 blouses, a worn photo of her mother, and her notebook filled with Lily's progress notes. As she zipped it shut, she heard a faint sound from the hallway. Small, quick footsteps, then a whisper. Rosa. She opened the door. Lily stood there, barefoot, in her nightgown, holding her cane. You can't leave, the child said, voice trembling. Please. Rosa knelt, tears stinging her eyes. Your father says I must. He's wrong, Lily said fiercely. You make me feel real. Rosa hugged her, heart breaking. You are real, sweetheart. You're more than real. You're brilliant. Lily clung tighter. Then don't go. I don't have a choice. The child's face crumpled. Everyone leaves. Rosa swallowed the ache in her throat. Not everyone, Lily. Some people just have to step away before they're heard. From down the corridor came Marcus's voice, low, commanding. Lily, go to your room. The girl froze. Marcus appeared, eyes dark but his tone softer than before. Now. No, Lily whispered, not until you listen. The entire house went still. Even the air seemed to wait, and that was the moment, the spark, when a child's defiance began to melt a father's fear. Lily turned toward her father's voice. You love me, but you don't believe in me, she said. You think keeping me safe means keeping me small. Marcus stared, unable to breathe. Rosa rose slowly, knowing she'd just witnessed the beginning of something neither of them could ever undo. The hallway had never been this quiet. The portraits lining the wall seemed to watch as an 8-year-old girl stood before her father, chin trembling but voice unflinching. Marcus Whitmore had faced boardrooms of cutthroat investors, courtroom battles, and billion-dollar crises. But he had never faced his daughter's truth. You love me, Lily said, her voice soft but steady. But you don't believe in me. Marcus opened his mouth, then closed it. The words wouldn't come. His control, the armor he'd built over years of grief, was cracking. Rosa stayed near the wall, still holding her half-packed suitcase. She knew she should leave, but she couldn't move. Lily, Marcus managed, you shouldn't talk to me like that. Then how should I talk to you? She asked. Like I'm still 5? Like I can't walk? Like I'll break if someone breathes too hard? Enough, he said, the word trembling with fear, not anger. Lily took a small step toward his voice. You think I don't know when you're sad, Dad? I hear it in your footsteps. I smell it in the air when you open my door. He blinked, stunned. Every time you leave, your shoes sound different, Lily said. They sound heavier. You think I can't tell, but I can. Marcus's shoulders dropped. Lily. When Mom was here, you both laughed, she interrupted, tears brimming but her voice growing stronger. She used to tell me stories about brave girls. She said I could be anything. But when she died, you stopped believing her words. You stopped believing in me. Her small hands clenched. You love me enough to stop the tutor's belt, but not enough to let me live. Rosa's hand flew to her mouth. The words cut through the air like lightning through glass. Marcus stared at his daughter, his throat working. I wanted to protect you, he said weakly. That's all I've ever wanted. I don't need protection, Dad, Lily said. I need a chance. He sank onto the staircase, all strength gone. For the first time since his wife's funeral, Marcus Whitmore didn't look like a billionaire. He looked like a man who didn't know how to love without losing. Rosa stepped forward slowly. "She's right," she said. "You saved her body that day in the dining room, but she's been disappearing ever since." Marcus looked up, eyes wet. "Do you think I don't know that?" Rosa hesitated, then sat her suitcase down. "Then stop trying to make her safe. Make her strong. Let her fall. Let her laugh. Let her live." He buried his face in his hands. For a long time, no one spoke. The silence stretched, but it wasn't the old kind, the cold, suffocating silence of marble walls and rules. It was the kind that makes space for truth. Finally, Marcus whispered, "I don't know how." Lily moved toward him, clicking softly, counting steps. When her hands found his shoulder, she traced the shape of his face with her fingertips. "Then I'll show you," she said. He broke. His arms went around her, pulling her close, holding her the way he hadn't in years. Without caution, without control, just desperate love. "I'm sorry," he whispered into her hair. "I'm so sorry." Lily smiled through her tears. "Then let Rosa stay. Please." Marcus lifted his head. "What?" "She helps me see," Lily said. "Not with my eyes, with everything else." Marcus turned to Rosa. His voice was quieter now, humbled. "You knew this would happen, didn't you?" Rosa shook her head. "I hoped it would, but I didn't know if you'd listen." He stared at her for a long moment. The maid who had broken every rule, risked everything, and somehow opened a door he'd nailed shut himself. "Stay," he said finally. "Please." Rosa let out a shaky breath she hadn't realized she was holding. "Are you sure?" "I'm sure," Marcus said, his voice cracking. "We'll start over. The three of us." Patricia appeared at the end of the hall, drawn by the commotion. She froze when she saw Marcus kneeling with Lily in his arms. "Mr. Whitmore?" "It's all right, Patricia," Marcus said. "Miss Mendoza isn't leaving." Patricia blinked, her lips parting. "But, sir—" "No more buts. We've done enough damage with rules." The housekeeper nodded slowly and disappeared. Lily leaned into her father's chest. "You sound lighter," she said. He smiled faintly. "Maybe I finally am." Rosa watched them, her heart full and trembling. She thought of the first day she arrived, the cold mansion, the whispered rules, the raised belt. How far they'd come. For the first time, the air inside the Whitmore house didn't feel heavy. Later that night, Marcus came to Rosa's small room. He stood awkwardly at the door, no longer the commanding employer, just a father searching for guidance. "I don't know where to start," he said. Rosa closed her notebook, stood, and met his eyes. "Start by believing she can." Marcus nodded slowly. "And what about me?" Rosa gave him a small, tired smile. "You'll learn." He looked around the small, simple room, a single bed, a small lamp, a suitcase half unpacked again, and for the first time in years, Marcus Whitmore felt poor in all the ways that mattered. As he walked back through the hall, he stopped by Lily's door. The light was off, but he heard her soft voice inside. "Good night, Dad," she whispered. He leaned against the doorframe and whispered back, "Good night, brave girl." And the mansion, once frozen in silence, finally breathed. The next morning began differently. There was still order, still precision, still money glinting from every corner, but for the first time the Whitmore mansion felt awake. The air carried the smell of pancakes instead of disinfectant. Music played softly from the kitchen. Marcus sat at the breakfast table, a cup of coffee untouched in front of him. His laptop was open, but the numbers on the screen looked smaller than usual. Rosa entered with Lily, who was gripping her white cane with pride instead of fear. "Morning, Dad," Lily said brightly. Marcus blinked at the sound of it. "Good morning, sweetheart." Rosa guided her to the chair but didn't pull it out. Instead, she said, "Miss Lily, it's 2 steps to your left." Lily paused, clicked softly, smiled, and found it herself. "Perfect," Rosa said. Patricia, standing near the counter, tensed. "That's unsafe, sir." "No," Marcus said, his voice calm. It's right. Rosa met his eyes, gratitude silent but strong. Breakfast became practice. Lily poured juice by sound, tapped her knife gently to locate her toast. When she spilled a little milk, Marcus didn't flinch. He simply handed her a napkin. Try again. Rosa watched quietly as father and daughter shared something small but revolutionary: the freedom to fail. After breakfast, Marcus followed Rosa into the corridor. "I've been reading," he said, "about echolocation, about tactile learning. You were right. She's capable of far more than we've allowed." Rosa smiled faintly. She always was. "I want to bring in specialists," he continued, "but the kind who build confidence, not cages. Will you help me find them?" "Of course." That afternoon, the mansion shifted again. Rosa and Marcus removed the soft padding from corners, the endless barriers meant to protect. They replaced them with landmarks, small textural guides to help Lily navigate. The child's footsteps echoed freely down the hall. She began to laugh more, question more, live more. She learned Braille, how to cook simple meals, how to fold her own clothes. One day, Marcus watched her from the doorway as she burned a pancake and muttered, "It smells like defeat." He chuckled. "Then victory must smell like butter." She grinned, and he realized he hadn't heard that sound, her genuine laughter, since before his wife died. Rosa recorded each milestone in her notebook. "Day 12, she wrote. "Lily poured water without spilling. Confidence rising." The servants noticed, too. The house that had once walked on eggshells now buzzed with warmth. Patricia softened, even offering to help with Lily's new Braille labels. The butler smiled more. The maids hummed. Rosa often stood in the hallway in the evenings watching the light from Lily's room spill out, soft and golden, filled with sound instead of fear. Marcus joined her once, hands in his pockets. "You did this," he said. "No," Rosa replied. "She did this. We just stopped getting in her way." Marcus nodded, eyes glinting. "Still, thank you." They shared a long silence, the kind that no longer suffocated. Later that night, Lily found her father in the study. "Dad." "Yes? Do you still work all the time?" "Not as much," he said, closing his laptop. "Good, because tomorrow Rosa's teaching me how to climb the garden fence." Marcus's eyes widened. "Climb?" She giggled. "Just kidding." But part of him knew she wasn't. And for the first time, that didn't terrify him. It made him proud. 2 years passed, and the gates of the Whitmore mansion no longer kept the world out. They opened to let Lily in. She was 10 now, tall for her age, her hair always tied back in a messy braid Rosa called her explorer look. She walked with her cane confidently, greeting every sound like an old friend. Marcus still found himself holding his breath sometimes, like when she ran too fast toward the fountain, or when she insisted on helping Rosa cook. But he was learning to let go, one heartbeat at a time. That morning, he waited at the kitchen table, fingers tapping nervously. Lily's first day at her new school, a school for blind and visually impaired children. Rosa helped her pack her bag. Braille books, tactile maps, a little recorder for notes. "You ready, brave girl?" Rosa asked. "More than ready," Lily said. "I'm going to make friends who understand." Marcus smiled but looked uneasy. "You'll call me when you arrive?" Lily tilted, her head toward his voice. "Dad, you'll call me." He chuckled. "Deal." The drive to the school was quiet, except for the soft hum of the car and the occasional tap of Lily's fingers on the window. "It sounds different out here," she said. "The air." Marcus nodded, though she couldn't see him. "It's freedom." At the entrance, Rosa took her hand. "You'll do great." "I know," Lily said confidently. They watched her walk toward the building with her cane, every step sure, unafraid. Marcus whispered, "I can't believe that's my little girl." Rosa smiled. "It's always been her. You're just finally seeing it." Over the following months, Lily flourished. She met Sophie, another blind girl who rode horses and climbed indoor rock walls. Together, they laughed, learned, and pushed boundaries. When Marcus visited the school one afternoon, he found Lily sitting in a circle of friends, telling them about the sounds of her garden at home. She spoke with joy, not bitterness, describing the fountain, the bees, the way wind felt like music. On the way home, Marcus asked, "Do you like it there?" "I love it," Lily said. "Everyone there walks like me. It's not strange, it's normal." Rosa smiled from the passenger seat. "That's how it should be." Marcus's voice softened. "You've changed me, Rosa. You and her." Rosa shook her head. "She changed you. I just pointed you toward her light." That evening, Lily insisted they walk to the park. Marcus hesitated, then nodded. She led the way with her cane, clicking softly, head tilted, counting steps under her breath. When she found the bench by herself, she grinned. "See? I told you I could." He laughed, sitting beside her. "You did." They sat together in the cool twilight. The city hummed around them, dogs barking, children playing, the distant clang of a streetcar bell. Lily leaned against him. "Dad, do you miss Mom?" "Every day," he said. "But I think she'd be proud of you." Lily smiled faintly. "Then she's proud of you too." And there, in that quiet park, the man who once measured life in profits and losses realized something money could never buy. The sound of his daughter's laughter, free and fearless. At home that night, Rosa wrote one more line in her notebook. She doesn't just see with sound now. She sees with courage. The ballroom of the Whitmore Foundation gleamed like a dream Marcus never thought he'd live to see. Gold chandeliers cast a warm glow over rows of polished chairs filled with guests, journalists, educators, donors, families of blind children flown in from across the country. At the front stood a banner that read, "The Sarah Whitmore Foundation for Blind Excellence, Empowering Vision Beyond Sight." It had been named after Marcus's late wife, but the soul of it, everyone knew, belonged to their daughter. Rosa adjusted the microphone on the stage, giving Lily an encouraging nod. At 14 now, Lily had grown into herself. Her hair fell in soft waves, her posture strong, her white cane resting lightly beside her. Marcus sat in the front row, a hand pressed against his lips. He had spoken at hundreds of conferences, faced international press, even testified before Congress. Yet he had never been this nervous. The crowd hushed as Lily stepped to the microphone. "Good evening," she began, her voice clear and sure. "When I was little, people spoke around me, not to me. They told each other how sorry they were that I'd never see. They told my father how strong he was for protecting me." She paused, smiling faintly. "But no one asked if I was strong. No one asked what I wanted." The audience leaned forward. Then one day, someone came who didn't speak to me like a fragile thing. She asked me what I heard. She taught me that blindness isn't the absence of sight. It's the presence of another kind of vision. Rosa's eyes filled with tears. Lily continued, her voice growing steadier. "When my mother died, my father built walls to keep the world out. He thought safety was love. He wasn't wrong. He just didn't know love can't breathe behind walls." Marcus's throat closed. "Now I know love isn't what holds you back," Lily said. "It's what lets you go." The audience erupted in quiet applause. Lily lifted her chin slightly, smiling at the sound. "Today, this foundation will help children like me find freedom, not fear. We'll build programs that teach us how to navigate the world, and teach the world how to see us." Her voice softened for the last line. "Because when we stop being afraid of what's different, we finally start seeing what's extraordinary." The applause rose to its feet. Thunderous, genuine, unstoppable. Marcus stood too, clapping hard, tears streaming freely now. He'd never felt smaller, prouder, or more human. After the event, Rosa found Lily backstage, sitting with her hands folded in her lap, cheeks flushed. "How did I do?" Lily asked. Rosa laughed softly. "You didn't just do well, Mitya. You made a room of people see." Marcus joined them, pulling his daughter into an embrace. "Your mother would have been in the front row," he said quietly. "Crying like me." Lily laughed. "You're crying." He chuckled. "Maybe a little." She tilted her head toward him, teasing. "Sounds like a lot." He hugged her tighter. "You're incredible." Rosa wiped her eyes. "She's the light your wife left behind." Marcus turned to Rosa. "And you, Rosa, you were the one who made sure it didn't go out." For the first time, he didn't sound like a man thanking an employee. He sounded like someone thanking family. 2 months later, the Whitmore Foundation officially opened its campus, a stunning blend of technology and humanity. Classrooms lined with tactile walls, gardens designed with sound sculptures, hallways that echoed in gentle tones to guide students through space. The press arrived in droves, their cameras flashing as Marcus took the stage. But this time, he wasn't there to talk about business or innovation. He was there to tell the truth. He looked over the crowd, spotted Rosa and Lily in the front row, and began. 10 years ago, he said, I walked into my own dining room and saw a man raising a belt at my daughter. I stopped him. I thought that was what it meant to be a good father, to protect her from pain. The crowd stilled. What I didn't see, Marcus continued, was that I'd been holding another kind of belt ever since. One made of fear. Fear disguised as love. Control disguised as care. His voice wavered. The day I met Rosa Mendoza, she showed me that fear can be as cruel as any weapon. And my daughter showed me that blindness was never her weakness. It was my own. Rosa's breath caught. Lily smiled faintly, tears glistening behind her cloudy eyes. Marcus went on, steady now. I built companies, empires, walls, but none of it mattered until I learned to build something worth seeing. Trust. This foundation isn't about fixing blindness. It's about fixing the way we see each other. He paused, then looked toward Rosa. The woman I once fired is the reason my daughter can stand on her own. And the little girl I once feared would fall has taught me how to stand tall. The applause that followed wasn't polite. It was powerful. After the ceremony, Marcus found Rosa in the courtyard. She stood under the same kind of fountain where everything had begun years ago. You've changed everything, he said. Rosa shook her head. No, you did. You just needed to remember who you were before fear took over. He smiled sadly. And you came into a house full of silence and gave it a heartbeat. They stood there in quiet reflection. Do you ever regret it? Marcus asked. Disobeying me back then? Rosa's eyes glistened. Not for a second. A burst of laughter echoed across the courtyard. Lily was showing another student how to find the fountain by sound. Hear the echo? That's how you know you're close. Marcus chuckled. You realize she's teaching your lessons now. Rosa's smile deepened. That's the point. He looked at her, the maid who had become his teacher, his compass, his reminder that even the richest man in the world can be poor in love until he learns to listen. Thank you, Rosa, he said simply. You're welcome, sir, she replied, then, softer, and thank you for listening. In that moment, neither of them needed to say another word, because somewhere between the sound of water and laughter, the mansion that once trapped grief had turned into a sanctuary, a home that finally learned to breathe. The city shimmered below the Whitmore mansion like a sea of constellations. San Francisco's fog had rolled in soft and silver, wrapping the skyline in a quiet glow. On the balcony, the air smelled of salt and jasmine. Lily stood there in a white sweater, her fingers resting lightly on the cool iron rail. She was 16 now, tall, confident, her face turned toward the whispering city sounds she could map by memory. The rumble of buses, the laughter spilling from the cafe down the hill, the faint ding of the cable car bell that always made her smile. Behind her, the glass doors slid open. Marcus stepped out, older now, but at peace in a way he hadn't been for decades. A man who had traded guilt for gratitude. He carried 2 mugs of hot chocolate, one with extra cinnamon, her favorite. "Careful," he said, handing it to her. She took it easily. "You still don't trust me not to spill." He smiled. Old habits die slow. They stood side by side, listening to the world together. "You can hear everything from up here," Lily said. "The city's heartbeat." "I used to hate the noise," Marcus replied. "Now I can't imagine silence without it." Lily sipped her drink. "Rosa says silence only hurts when it's empty. When it's full of love, it's just peace." Marcus nodded. "She's right." The fountain in the garden below gurgled softly. The same fountain where years ago a child had learned to walk without fear. Lily turned her face toward her father. "Do you ever wish I could see?" He took a long breath. "I used to, every day, but not anymore." "Really?" He smiled. "Because I think I see enough for both of us." She laughed, a soft, golden sound that seemed to warm the night itself. Down below, the foundation's courtyard buzzed with quiet evening life, students walking in pairs, tapping their canes, exchanging stories. Rosa moved among them, her silver-streaked hair catching the garden lights, her laughter echoing faintly upward. "She's never stopped teaching," Lily said. "No," Marcus replied. "She doesn't know how." They both listened for a while, to the city, the fountain, the murmur of the world they'd built together. Lily broke the silence. "Do you remember that day? The day I fired Rosa? The day you almost did." Marcus chuckled softly. "How could I forget? I thought she was out of her mind, letting you walk through that garden alone." "She was," Lily teased, "but it worked." He looked out at the horizon. "It saved us all." A cool breeze swept past, carrying with it the distant hum of the city, alive, restless, forgiving. Lily leaned her head on his shoulder. "You did good, Dad?" He smiled at the words, simple and sacred. "So did you, my brave girl." They stood there, together. The man who once built walls to keep out pain, and the daughter who taught him that love was worth every risk. Rosa joined them a few minutes later, a gentle smile lighting her face. "You two hiding up here?" "Just listening," Lily said. "The city's playing our song." Rosa laughed. "Then let it play." Marcus put an arm around both of them. "You know," he said, his voice thick with warmth, "when I first said, 'Put that belt down,' I thought that was the moment I saved her." Rosa turned to him. "And now?" He looked at Lily, at the foundation glowing below them, at the home no longer filled with fear. "Now I know that was the moment you saved me." Rosa's eyes softened. "No, Marcus. She did that. I just opened the window." Below them, the fountain lights shimmered brighter, the sound of laughter rising from the gardens. The mansion that once held its breath now pulsed with life. Teachers, children, echoes of courage. Lily tilted her head, listening to it all. The water, the voices, the faint hum of a city that never slept. "It's beautiful," she whispered. "What is?" Marcus asked. "Everything." The three of them stood there beneath the night sky. Not as billionaire, maid, and child, but as family. Bound not by sight or fear or rules, but by something rarer. The sound of love finally being heard. Far below, carved into the marble at the foundation's gate, the words glowed beneath the garden lights. "See ability, not disability." And for the first time in forever, Marcus Whitmore felt the world exactly as his daughter did. Not through sight, but through understanding. The city lights flickered. The fountain sang. And the mansion that once echoed with silence finally learned to live.